All right, ready to dive into your next 5 moves.
Let's do it.
This is Patrick Bet-David's book. He's got a really interesting background, really successful entrepreneur CEO,
Yeah.
and he uses this chess grandmaster approach to business strategy. So it's kind of all about thinking several steps ahead, just like planning your next 5 moves in chess to really win at the business world.
I like how he doesn't just keep that for the CEOs and the big businesses. He
Yeah.
really says this applies to anyone, whether you're a small business or just climbing the corporate ladder or even just figuring out your next career move. Like it can apply to any of those situations.
Absolutely. And he really stresses like the first move is all about self-reflection. It's like that fundamental question, who do you want to be? And it's not just about setting goals. It's about really understanding like your deepest aspirations and motivations, like what truly drives you.
And this is vital because it really sets like the level of urgency in the strategies, like building a family business versus trying to be like the next industry disruptor. It's a totally different game, a totally different approach.
It's choosing the difficulty level in the video game.
Yeah.
The higher the ambition, the tougher the challenges.
Right.
Right. And speaking of challenges, Bet David is very open about some of the things he's faced.
Hmm.
He talks about fleeing Iran during the war as a child. I mean, what a profoundly shaping experience that must have been. Talk about resilience and drive instilled from an early age.
Definitely. And he uses that to connect to how, everyone faces adversity. And it's what we do with that experience that matters. He even calls it pain as fuel. Instead of letting setbacks crush you, it's using that as a motivation to push forward.
He uses that great anecdote of, remember when he was denied a promotion, even though he exceeded all expectations?
Oh, yeah.
And instead of being defeated by that, he used that as the energy to start his own company.
And that really resonates with other stories, like Elon Musk facing, belittlement from his father, or even Bet David recalling a dismissive encounter with a high school guidance counselor. These seemingly small things, they can be very powerful motivators.
It's about reframing those negative experiences and turning them into a driving force, almost like turning poison into medicine, right? But Bet David doesn't just dwell on the past. He introduces this really intriguing concept called future truth.
Yeah. And this is where you act in the present as if your future goals have already happened. He uses really bold examples like, Bet David interviewing George W. Bush, Kobe Bryant, before his company was even 10 years old.
I mean, talk about audacious, but he's suggesting that by embodying that future truth, you attract opportunities and make things happen that might seem impossible otherwise.
It's kind of like JFK, his unwavering belief in putting a man on the moon. It was a future truth at that time, and look what happened.
He challenges us to look at our actions and say, do they align with the future that we envision? Are we actively working towards that future self? Or are we just, hoping for the best?
Right, right.
And then from there, he moves into the importance of mentors. But with a really unique perspective, he classifies mentors into 3 levels: theory, witness, and application.
I love that. It's so true that not all mentors are created equal. It's the difference between knowledge and wisdom, learning the theories versus having actually lived it and applied it.
Exactly. And he stresses that while learning the theories is important, the most valuable mentors are those who have actually applied those principles and achieved success. They've walked the walk.
I've been in the trenches.
Exactly. He talks a little bit about his own involvement with Vistage, this organization that acts as a personal board of directors for entrepreneurs. So they provide that high-level mentorship and support from experienced individuals. And then he goes on to this idea of processing issues effectively. And he says that's just crucial for learning and adapting, particularly when things get tough in the business world, which, let's face it, it happens to all of us.
Right. He uses Joe Rogan and his experience with that bad coffee investment, Instead of just, succumbing to frustration, he turned it into a learning experience, He dove deep into coffee.
So it's turning those negative experiences into something positive.
Absolutely.
Into a learning moment.
Yep.
And he breaks down 5 elements that influence our ability to process. So it's strategies, poise, the tendency to exaggerate or downplay crises, and the ability to think ahead. It's about looking at things calmly and rationally and not making emotional decisions.
Absolutely. Makes sense.
And then that takes him into this whole thing about data.
Yeah.
He's a huge advocate for tracking those key business metrics. He compares it to Moneyball, the Oakland A's.
Oh, yeah.
How they use data analysis to build a winning team despite having very limited resources. And he says in business, just like in baseball, Tracking the data allows for smarter decisions. It minimizes micromanagement. It reveals areas that need improvement.
It makes you wonder, what things would we be able to see that we just don't notice?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He even shares how he used data analysis to combat seasonal fluctuations in his own company.
Mm.
Shifted from like a 7-5-25, peak and slow split to a more balanced 5-5-45.
Oh, wow.
So he really shows that by looking at the data, he's able to make some really strategic decisions. And then from there, he moves into the whole idea of building a team. And he really encourages, entrepreneurs to think beyond just themselves. Think about what they can offer potential team members.
Absolutely.
He talks about a compelling benefits program that attracts that top talent. It's about making it a win-win. Everyone is contributing to each other's growth and success.
Mutually beneficial.
Exactly. He talks about having a consigliere,
Oh, interesting.
a trusted advisor, who offers wise counsel, like the Warren Buffetts and Charlie Mungers of the world, or even, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak.
Yeah, the dynamic duos.
Right.
Yeah.
And he even mentions Patty McCord,
Yeah.
the former chief talent officer at Netflix,
Okay.
who would constantly challenge the CEO, Reed Hastings,
Yeah.
and really ensured that Netflix stayed innovative and adaptable.
So
Yeah.
again, it's like having that person who's not afraid to push back a little bit,
Yeah.
offer a different perspective, which is so valuable.
It is. It is.
So from there, he goes into the whole idea of using equity to incentivize key employees, creating those golden handcuffs.
Interesting.
He argues that, it really fosters that ownership mentality and gets everybody aligned for long-term success. However, he does recommend a wait-and-see approach.
Okay.
So, you really evaluate those new hires before you make that kind of investment, right? And make sure they're a good fit for the company culture, they're committed to the mission before you give them a piece of the pie. Yeah, smart move, especially in today's market where employee turnover is so high.
And then from there, he tackles the tough topic of firing. But he emphasizes empathy and respect throughout the process.
Sure.
And he tells this heartwarming story about firing his assistant
Mm-hmm.
and then helping him pursue his dream of being a surfer.
Oh, wow.
So showing that, firing doesn't have to be this negative experience. Sometimes people just aren't the right fit. And it's about recognizing that and helping them find a path that maybe aligns better with what they want to do.
Right. It's not the end of the world.
Exactly. And, he stresses the importance of documentation throughout the whole hiring process.
Right.
So you have, clear agreements, outlined expectations, documented performance. All of that really minimizes conflict and ensures a smoother separation.
And that, that protects both sides too.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And then he moves into this whole thing about mastering strategy, particularly when it comes to scaling a business.
Yeah.
And he really identifies 3 key areas for growth: business development, innovative campaigns, and achieving what he calls exponential growth.
Okay.
He kind of, explains that difference between linear and exponential growth. While steady progress is important, it's those breakthroughs that can really catapult a company to new heights. He cites things like Amazon Prime.
Oh, yeah.
Started as this simple idea, free 2-day shipping.
Right.
And it's blossomed into this massive ecosystem that generates billions in revenue. And he also gives the example of Mitsubishi's gas promotion,
Okay.
where they very boldly offered to pay their customers gas for an entire year.
Wow.
Talk about generating some buzz,
Yeah.
helping Mitsubishi stand out, right?
Definitely.
Really thinking outside the box. And then from there, he moves in this whole idea of paranoia in business. He even, he brings in Andy Grove's famous quote, "Only the paranoid survive."
Oh, I like that.
So he's saying that constant awareness of those potential threats, kind of like a squad in a war movie that has to stay vigilant even after they win a battle.
Yeah.
It's crucial for that long-term success.
They'll get complacent.
Exactly. And he offers 3 tactics for staying centered amidst uncertainty.
Okay.
Because let's face it, entrepreneurs face a lot of chaos. And, the first one is embracing Murphy's Law.
Yeah.
Anticipate the problems and mitigate them before they even arise.
Mm.
And he tells a great story about how he almost made a disastrous investment because he was so caught up in the excitement,
Yeah.
and he overlooked some critical flaws. But fortunately, he had a trusted advisor who kind of stepped in,
Right.
saved him from making that big mistake. So again, it's that having those outside perspectives.
Catch those blind spots. Yeah.
Exactly. His second tactic is building a strong support system, recognizing that, nobody can do it alone. Even successful entrepreneurs need people that they can rely on during tough times.
Makes sense.
And then his third tactic is really about identifying those next 3 steps when facing a crisis.
Okay.
So it's breaking those big, overwhelming problems into manageable actions,
Mm.
focusing on what you can control and taking those immediate steps to address that situation. So it's about taking action.
Instead of freezing.
Exactly, exactly. And then from there, he moves into the power of alliances.
Yeah.
And he says even competitors can be valuable partners.
Interesting.
He gives the example of Apple and Microsoft,
Yeah.
once fierce rivals. But they eventually formed a strategic partnership that benefited both of them.
How about that?
So it's about, realizing that collaboration can be more powerful than competition, particularly when you can leverage each other's strengths. Right?
Absolutely.
He also dives into this fascinating story of Amazon and Toys R Us.
Oh, wow.
Back in the early 2000s, they formed this groundbreaking alliance. It allowed Amazon to tap into Toys R Us's expertise in the toy industry, and it gave Toys R Us this robust online presence. So this mutually beneficial relationship helped both companies navigate a very turbulent time in retail.
I bet.
And then, he brings it back to mentorship again, but this time really focusing on seeking wisdom. He describes early in his career realizing that he needed more than just knowledge. He needed guidance from those who had achieved the success that he desired.
Right.
So he describes this transformation from mocking nerds to becoming a voracious learner, devouring books and seeking out mentors who could guide him through this complex world of business. And again, he categorizes mentors in those 3 levels: theory, witness, and application. The theory level. Those are the folks who have the knowledge but lack the practical experience. The witness mentors are those who have observed success firsthand. They work closely with successful entrepreneurs, gained valuable insights through that observation. But he says that the most impactful mentors are those at the application level. These are the individuals who actually built thriving businesses and have the battle scars to prove it.
They've been there, done that.
Exactly. And then he transitions to the whole idea of scaling a business for exponential growth. And he gives this framework for achieving that next level of success. He emphasizes the importance of understanding how to capitalize your business, identifying the resources needed to fuel that growth,
Okay.
developing those strategies to secure those resources. And he stresses the need for executing strategies for both exponential and linear growth. So, steady incremental progress is important, but those innovative breakthroughs can propel a company to new heights.
Yeah. It's like that hockey stick growth, right?
Exactly, exactly. And then he really focuses on leadership, the ability to inspire your team,
Right.
demand their best, hold them accountable. It's about pushing individuals to reach their full potential, fostering that culture of excellence. And he really talks about momentum,
Okay.
how success breeds success. And capitalizing on those moments can really accelerate progress.
Mm.
But he also acknowledges the inevitability of chaos. Challenges are constant in business, and it's about building that resilience.
Riding the waves.
Exactly, exactly. And then he moves into this whole idea of battling Goliaths, those established players in your industry that might seem insurmountable at first glance.
Yeah.
And he recognizes, the advantages that they have.
Yeah.
The resources, established brand, that comfort that can sometimes lead to complacency. But he argues that these strengths can also become weaknesses. A Goliath's size can actually hinder their agility. And their comfort can lead to, a lack of vigilance, creating opportunities for those more nimble challengers to come in and disrupt things.
Right.
And he outlines 12 strategies for overcoming these Goliaths. And he stresses the importance of understanding your weaknesses, identifying your opponent's vulnerabilities, being bold in your approach. He even encourages shameless self-promotion. In today's crowded marketplace, attention is key.
Definitely. You have to stand out.
And he talks about aligning your brand with that master vision.
Yeah.
Making sure everything's consistent with your long-term goals. He encourages cutting through distractions and focusing on those actions that really move the needle.
Yeah.
Eliminating that unnecessary noise.
Right. The 80-20 rule.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then he dives into social media, advocating for that strong online presence, engaging with your audience,
Yeah.
sharing your story to really build your brand. And he offers some practical tips, being bold, showcasing personality,
Yeah.
celebrating successes,
Yeah.
owning mistakes. And he even suggests what he calls book dropping.
Book dropping.
So it's basically sharing knowledge of relevant books, resources to establish yourself as a thought leader and show that you're committed to continuous learning. It's positioning yourself as a valuable resource and building that credibility within your industry. And then, from there, he goes into this whole thing about incremental growth, really emphasizing breaking down those ambitious goals into the manageable steps. He compares it to weightlifting, gradually increasing the weight over time to build that strength and endurance.
Oh, I like that analogy.
So, even audacious goals are achieved through a series of smaller victories, consistently pushing those boundaries and celebrating those milestones along the way. And he encourages embracing challenges as opportunity for growth and learning,
Sure.
recognizing that facing difficulties builds resilience and expertise. And then he embarks on this fascinating exploration of learning from mobsters. Oh, this ought to be good. Particularly in selling, negotiating, and influencing.
Interesting.
He argues that while their methods might be a bit extreme, their understanding of human psychology, leverage, and persuasion offers some valuable insights.
Okay.
He underscores the importance of understanding, the other party's needs, desires, and frustrations in any negotiation. And he recognizes that fear, greed, and saving face are some pretty potent motivators. And skillfully leveraging those emotions can lead to some favorable outcomes. And then he dives into effective sales techniques, highlighting the importance of conviction, really transferring your belief in your product or service to the customer. He tells that great story from sales legend Zig Ziglar about a struggling cookware salesperson who basically rediscovers his passion for the product and then sees a dramatic increase in sales.
Oh, wow.
So it's that the power of authenticity and genuine enthusiasm.
It's contagious.
Exactly, exactly. And then he discusses, leverage in negotiations, understanding power dynamics, and using that leverage strategically. He tells that anecdote about securing a favorable deal by recognizing that the other party really needed his expertise, and he was able to use that leverage to negotiate a better outcome. And he emphasizes the significance of building that reputation for over-delivering on promises, fostering trust and credibility for long-term success. But he reminds us that while learning from these tactics can be valuable, we have to maintain those ethical boundaries and build relationships based on mutual respect and trust.
Right, right.
It's about harnessing the power of persuasion without compromising your integrity.
Absolutely.
And then he transitions into cultivating power and staying battle-tested. That constant, continuous challenge, pushing beyond your comfort zone.
Right, always growing.
He introduces this formula for gaining power: outwork, out-improve, out-strategize, and outlast your competition. So it's about that commitment to continuous improvement, pushing boundaries, maintaining that relentless drive to succeed. And he also highlights the value of seeking knowledge from those who are more experienced and successful.
Oh, for sure.
He emphasizes shadowing mentors,
Yeah.
absorbing that wisdom. And, he even shares an anecdote about building a relationship with billionaire philanthropist Eli Broad by simply offering to help with a task.
Oh, wow.
So it's that power of generosity and those unexpected opportunities that can, it's about building genuine connections, right?
Absolutely.
Helping others and ultimately benefiting yourself. And then he comes back to leadership again, the importance of inspiring your team, guiding individuals to reach their full potential. And he really asserts that true leaders earn what he calls moral authority.
Through setting that positive example and demonstrating a genuine commitment to the team's success. It's not about wielding power. It's about inspiring others to strive for that excellence. And he stresses understanding what motivates each team member.
Sure.
Recognizing that everybody has their own unique needs and aspirations. And he introduces this concept of love languages for entrepreneurs, highlighting 9 ways to show appreciation and support. So it's active listening, providing growth opportunities, celebrating accomplishments, both individual and team. So it's about creating that positive work environment where individuals feel valued, appreciated, and motivated to contribute their best.
Make them feel seen and heard.
Exactly.
And he really cautions against complacency, reminding entrepreneurs that success can sometimes, create a false sense of security.
Right. Just can't just rest on your laurels.
Exactly. You got to stay vigilant, be aware of potential threats, and be ready to adapt when those unexpected situations come up. Always be on your toes. He uses that really powerful example of the original Fortune 500 list from 1955.
Oh, yeah.
And how many of those companies are even around today?
Not many.
It really underscores that, even giants can falter. if they don't adapt to those changing market dynamics and evolving consumer needs.
Right. If you don't evolve, you'll become a dinosaur.
Exactly, exactly. So it's that constant reminder to stay ahead, you got to evolve, and you got to be willing to challenge the status quo, no matter how successful you become. And then he talks about processing information effectively,
Yeah.
even amidst the chaos.
Right, because there's always going to be chaos, especially in business.
Absolutely. And he advocates for those clear systems and protocols,
Yeah.
to streamline those operations and facilitate data-driven decisions.
Right, take the emotion out of it.
Exactly. And he says, those systems reduce the need for micromanagement
Yeah.
and empower your team to operate efficiently.
Autonomously.
Exactly. And then he introduces this money ball
Yeah.
for business idea,
Uh-huh.
drawing that parallel to how the Oakland A's use data analysis to build a winning team. And he says, in business, just like in baseball, leveraging the data can reveal hidden inefficiencies and uncover those opportunities for improvement.
It makes me wonder what else we could see if we really dug into the numbers.
Absolutely. He even advocates for hiring a predictive analytics expert, showing that investing in data analysis can yield some significant returns.
Makes sense.
He gives that humorous anecdote about that star salesperson on his team who was coasting on natural talent,
Right.
but underperforming.
Happens all the time.
Right. And by analyzing his data, he was able to identify areas for improvement and ultimately helped him achieve even greater success.
It's like unlocking hidden potential.
Exactly. Exactly. So then he brings us back to that concept of paranoia in business.
Only the paranoid survive.
Right. And how important it is for maintaining that competitive edge.
Yeah.
So he urges entrepreneurs to remain watchful,
Yeah.
anticipate those obstacles, and be ready to adapt when those unforeseen circumstances arise.
Right. Have a plan.
Exactly. And then, he talks about embracing change, recognizing that the business world is in constant flux.
It's like a game of chess. Right.
Exactly. So he encourages agility, experimenting with those new strategies and a willingness to pivot when it's
Yeah.
necessary.
Right. If something's not working, try something else.
Exactly. And then he dives into the potential downsides of speed,
Oh, interesting.
especially the temptations that can accompany rapid growth.
Right.
So he cautions against, sacrificing your values, making rash decisions, or taking those shortcuts that could jeopardize long-term success.
Sure, you don't want to build your empire on a shaky foundation.
Exactly. He tells that story about that agent who achieved these impressive sales figures, but through these unethical, potentially illegal tactics.
Oh, wow.
And he uses that as a reminder that, success that's obtained through those means is not sustainable.
Right. It'll catch up with you eventually.
Exactly, exactly. So
Yeah.
it underscores the importance of building a business with integrity and aligning your actions with those values, even when those shortcuts are tempting.
Right. It's about the long game.
Exactly. And then he moves into the importance of systems, arguing that well-defined processes and protocols are really vital for managing growth and in maintaining efficiency.
Systems are key. He compares it to the Toyota way, where every single problem on the assembly line was addressed in 59 seconds.
Wow, that's impressive.
It led to, exceptional efficiency and quality. And Bet David actually presents a 7-step system for compressing timeframes within your own business.
Oh, interesting.
It's about analyzing processes, eliminating unnecessary steps, and implementing tools that streamline operations.
Work smarter, not harder.
Exactly. And he also highlights the importance of timing, recognizing that making the right move at the right time can be just as crucial as the move itself. He even shares a story about an entrepreneur who made the mistake of investing in a lavish office space before the business could actually support it,
Oh, wow.
illustrating how, premature scaling can actually hurt your financial stability.
Don't get ahead of yourself.
Right. And then he shifts to this idea of managing personal vices, those temptations that can derail progress and really hinder your success.
Right, those bad habits that can hold us back.
He identifies 5 deadly sins of entrepreneurs: excessive frugality or reckless spending, susceptibility to negative influences, a sense of entitlement, resistance to adaptation, and constantly comparing yourself to others.
It's like a recipe for disaster.
It can be.
Yeah.
So he provides examples of how these vices manifest and stresses the importance of self-awareness, financial discipline, and surrounding yourself with those right advisors.
So it's about recognizing those potential pitfalls, seeking guidance, and making those conscious choices that support long-term success.
Right, building a solid foundation for yourself.
Exactly, exactly. And then he brings us back to that value of a long-term perspective,
Yeah.
reminding us that building a successful business, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Right, pace yourself.
Right. He encourages entrepreneurs to stay focused on those objectives, celebrate those achievements, learn from the mistakes, and view each experience as a stepping stone on that path to growth.
It's all part of the journey.
Exactly. And then he advocates for balance,
Okay.
recognizing that success in business shouldn't come at the cost of our health, relationships, or personal well-being.
It's about the whole picture.
Exactly. So he promotes that holistic approach, encouraging entrepreneurs to find fulfillment in their personal and professional lives.
Right, find that harmony.
Exactly. And then he moves into that final chapter where he talks about leverage, options, and generosity.
Oh, I like that.
And he argues that having options really empowers individuals to make those informed decisions, negotiate from a position of strength, and avoid being trapped in unfavorable
It's
circumstances.
about having choices.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He tells that story about that entrepreneur who struggled because he was overly reliant on one single customer.
Oh, I see.
And by diversifying his customer base, creating more options, he gained that leverage and improved his financial stability.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly, exactly. And then he underscores that power of generosity,
Okay.
asserting that helping others without expecting anything in return can lead to those unexpected opportunities and foster a cycle of success.
Pay it forward.
Right.
Yeah.
He shares that personal anecdote about building that relationship with that billionaire philanthropist by simply offering assistance with a task. So again, it's highlighting how genuine generosity can open those doors and create those valuable connections.
Sometimes it's the little things.
Exactly. And then he revisits that formula for gaining power, emphasizing outworking, out-improving, out-strategizing, and outlasting your competition. So it's about embracing that mindset of continuous improvement and that relentless pursuit of excellence.
Always striving to be better.
Right. And he encourages entrepreneurs to actively seek out those opportunities, to learn from those who are more experienced and successful. And he shares a story about Steve Kerr, the NBA coach, who continued to seek mentorship and guidance from other leaders, even after winning multiple championships.
Wow, even at the top, there's still room to learn.
Right. So it's that humility and recognizing that, even the most accomplished individuals can benefit from learning and expanding those perspectives.
Right, always be a student.
And then he goes back to effective leadership, emphasizing the need to inspire your team, set that positive example, and guide individuals to reach their full potential. So it's about fostering that supportive environment where everyone feels empowered to contribute their best and grow both personally and professionally.
It's about creating a culture of growth.
He shares that powerful analogy from Richard Branson. Train people well enough so they can leave, treat them well enough so they don't want to.
I love that.
Right. So it's about investing in your team, providing those growth opportunities, creating that positive work environment that fosters loyalty and commitment.
Absolutely.
And then he brings it back to that idea of staying battle-tested, recognizing that challenges are just an inherent part of the entrepreneurial journey. And he shares a story about Andrew Bynum, that talented basketball player whose lack of work ethic and discipline hindered his ability to reach his full potential.
Oh, right.
And he uses that as a reminder that talent alone is not enough.
Right. You need that drive and dedication.
Exactly. It's a consistent effort, dedication, and that willingness to push beyond your comfort zone that's crucial for achieving greatness. So he encourages entrepreneurs to invest in personal growth, recognizing that continuous learning, evolving, and adapting are essential for navigating that ever-changing business landscape.
And he stresses the importance of staying true to your mission, even when faced with adversity, and recognizing that those rewards of entrepreneurship often lie in the journey itself, not just the destination.
It's about enjoying the ride.
Exactly. And then he concludes by reminding entrepreneurs that success in business, much like in chess, requires that strategic thinking, anticipating those future moves, and adapting to those changing circumstances. So he urges entrepreneurs to embrace that challenge, stay true to those values, and never stop learning and growing. It's a call to action to step into your full potential and make a meaningful impact on the world.
Leave your mark. Exactly. Exactly. So now let's transition into exploring some key takeaways from our deep dive into your next 5 moves. What are some of those insights that really resonated with you?
Well, for me, living your future truth was really powerful. Embodying the person you aspire to become, aligning your actions with that vision, creating that self-fulfilling prophecy.
It's about stepping into that future version of yourself and letting it guide your present decisions.
Exactly.
Another one that really hit home for me was the importance of finding those wise mentors.
Right. Seek guidance from those who have not only studied success, but have lived it.
Walk the walk.
Exactly.
And he provides some really valuable insights into the art of negotiation and persuasion.
Oh, yeah. He reminds us that effective negotiation is not about manipulation or coercion. It's about understanding motivations, finding that common ground, and crafting mutually beneficial solutions.
Win-win.
Exactly.
He also stresses the importance of building a robust network of allies and collaborators.
Right, your tribe.
Right. Reminding us that even competitors can be valuable partners and that strategic alliances can be incredibly powerful for achieving that shared success.
The power of collaboration.
Exactly. And of course, he reiterates that importance of maintaining a healthy level of paranoia even when you're experiencing success.
Stay hungry.
Right. So it's about remaining vigilant, scanning the horizon for those potential threats, and being prepared to adapt when the unexpected occurs.
Always be ready.
And he reminds us that success in business shouldn't come at the expense of, our well-being, relationships, or ethical principles.
Right. It's about finding that balance, that holistic approach to success.
Exactly. So before we move on to the third and final part of our deep dive, we want to leave you with the challenge. Bet David advocates for making bold predictions and taking action to turn those predictions into reality. So we challenge you to consider, what's one bold prediction you can make about your business or your life over the next year? What audacious goal, if achieved, would significantly enhance your success and fulfillment?
Think big.
Right. Take a moment to reflect on that. Articulate that goal. Maybe share it with somebody you trust. But most importantly, begin taking action to make it happen.
Right. Put it out there.
Exactly. Now let's take a moment to recap the key points we've covered so far. We began by exploring self-awareness, understanding your motivations, and aligning those actions with your desired future self.
Know thyself.
Exactly. We delved into pain as fuel, learning to leverage those setbacks and challenges as motivation.
Turn those lemons into lemonade.
Exactly. We discussed the importance of finding those wise mentors, those individuals who have walked the path and can offer valuable guidance.
Seek out the wisdom.
We explored processing issues effectively, approaching those challenges with a calm and analytical mindset, focusing on solutions.
Stay cool under pressure.
We emphasized the power of data analysis, using it to make those informed decisions, identify inefficiencies, and predict future trends.
Let the numbers guide you.
We discussed the importance of building that strong team, offering those compelling benefits, and fostering that ownership mentality.
Invest in your people.
We tackled firing employees, stressing the need for empathy, respect, and clear documentation.
Handle it with grace.
We explored scaling a business, understanding the difference between linear and exponential growth, and identifying those innovative campaigns.
Think outside the box.
We discussed the importance of battling Goliaths, recognizing their weaknesses, and leveraging your agility and strategic thinking.
Be the David to their Goliath.
We emphasized staying paranoid even when you're experiencing success, maintaining that sense of urgency.
Never get complacent.
We explored cultivating your power, building a strong network of allies, and embracing that mindset of abundance.
Think big, think abundant.
And finally, we talked about leading with empathy, inspiring your team, and guiding them to reach their full potential.
Be the leader you wish you had.
So we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into your next 5 moves, exploring a wide array of topics.
Right, it's been a journey.
Now in part 3, we'll shift our focus to those specific strategies and tactics that you can implement to elevate your business.
Let's get practical.
We'll explore the power of systems, controlling your narrative, and that art of transforming chaos into opportunity. All right, picking up where we left off, let's dig into this concept of systems in business. Bet David argues they're just crucial for efficient growth.
He makes this really fascinating comparison to the Toyota production system. He highlights this remarkable rule they had. Any issue on the assembly line had to be addressed within 59 seconds. I mean, talk about a commitment to efficiency, right?
Wow, that's impressive. I mean, you think about it, no wonder they became, a global leader in the automotive industry.
Right. It shows how streamlined processes and a clear framework for problem solving can just dramatically improve productivity and minimize any waste.
Absolutely. And then Bet David presents this seven-step system for optimizing time frames within a
Oh
business.
yeah, which is incredibly valuable in today's fast-paced environment.
Absolutely. So it starts with, selecting a specific area to analyze,
Hmm.
whether that's client onboarding, order fulfillment, product development, whatever it is.
Right.
And then you break that process down into those individual steps, and you really pinpoint those areas ripe for improvement.
So it's eliminating redundancies, automating tasks, implementing tools that streamline those operations. It's about working smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
Oh.
And then from there, he shifts to this whole thing about controlling your narrative in the digital age.
Oh yeah, especially with social media.
Exactly. And he really contends that proactively shaping public perception of your brand, it's not optional anymore. It's essential.
It is. You got to actively manage your online presence and craft a story that connects with your audience.
Right. And he says it starts with that strong personal brand.
Oh yeah, letting your personality shine through.
Exactly. Authenticity, connecting with people on a human level.
Absolutely. He
Yeah.
even gives some practical social media tips, suggesting the use of humor, behind the scenes content,
Mhm.
engaging in discussions, right?
Exactly. It's about building relationships,
Hmm.
establishing yourself as a thought leader.
Right, being a part of the conversation.
Exactly. And then he also emphasizes the importance of curating the information that you consume, limiting your exposure to that negativity and distractions.
So you can focus on content that truly adds value.
Exactly. And he says that extends to managing your time and energy.
Oh, for sure. Your attention is valuable. You have to protect it.
Exactly. And then he goes in this really thought-provoking concept,
Yeah.
turning chaos into opportunity.
I love that. It's about seeing uncertainty and disruption not as something to be feared, but as a catalyst for growth and innovation.
Exactly. And he says that those who can navigate those turbulent times with resilience and adaptability, they often emerge stronger and achieve greater success.
They're the ones who come out on top.
Exactly. So he advocates for developing that battle-tested mindset,
Mhm.
viewing challenges as opportunities to learn,
Yeah.
cultivating the mental fortitude to persevere.
Right. It's about embracing the unknown, bouncing back from those setbacks, keeping that forward momentum.
Exactly. So as we conclude our deep dive into your next 5 moves, we want to leave you with one final reflection.
Right.
Bet David, throughout the book, he stresses that importance of strategic thinking, anticipating those future moves, and adapting to changing circumstances.
Right. Playing the long game.
But he also reminds us that success is more than just winning, all
It
right?
is. It's about leading a meaningful life, contributing to a greater purpose, making a positive impact on the world.
Exactly. And as you embark on your own entrepreneurial journey, keep those higher aspirations in mind. Leverage your skills and talents to create value, to solve problems, to make a difference. Remember, those most rewarding victories are achieved with integrity, with compassion, and a commitment to something larger than yourself. And as promised, we wanted to provide a concise 10-point summary of the key takeaways from Bet David's Your Next 5 Moves.
Yeah.
So let's distill those crucial insights. Okay, so number one is self-awareness. Define who you aspire to be and let that vision guide your actions. Number two, pain is fuel. Transform setbacks and challenges into sources of motivation and drive. Number three, future truth. Act as if your goals are already a reality, embodying that future self. Number four, wise mentorship. Seek guidance from those individuals who've achieved tangible success. Number five, processing mastery. Analyze situations calmly, avoiding those emotional reactions. Number six, data utilization. Leverage data to make informed decisions, identify those weaknesses, and uncover opportunities. Number seven, team building. Attract top talent by fostering a win-win environment that promotes growth. Number eight, equity incentives. Cultivate an ownership mentality in key employees by offering them a stake in the company's success. Number nine, empathetic leadership. Approach those terminations with respect, recognizing that sometimes parting ways can benefit both parties. And number 10, adaptive vigilance. Remain alert to potential threats, embrace change, and adapt your strategies to navigate that evolving business landscape. So there you have it. 10 powerful principles from your next 5 moves to guide you on your journey. These are, of course, just the highlights, but we encourage you to explore the book further, to delve deeper into those concepts that resonate with you. Remember, knowledge is most potent when applied. Take these insights, put them into practice, and watch your business flourish.
Absolutely.
So thank you for joining us on this deep dive into your next 5 moves. We hope you found it insightful, and we look forward to exploring more fascinating topics with you in the future.
Until next time.